Hello everybody. Today we're going to talk a little bit about work permits, short and long-term work permits in Namibia. But we want to make it really practical, so I'm joined by Melissa Moses today. She has assisted a couple of our clients with very large projects into Namibia, and I thought it's a nice idea to share her practical experiences around that instead of rather giving you a long list of required documents. But let's see where the video takes us. I hope you have fun, and let's start. So Melissa, in the last 6 or 7 months, we were fortunate to have two really large projects in Namibia, right? One in the oil and gas exploration as a sub-provider to Shell, and the other one in the mining industry. And I think you and your team, you assisted with roughly 50 short-term work visas on the oil and gas, and about 70 short and long-term applications with the mining company, which obviously make me happy, and Melissa slightly stressed, right? But be it as it may. So maybe just to start with, just explain the very basic differences between the short-term and the long-term work visas, maybe including the processing times in Namibia.
Okay, so the difference between the short-term and the long-term work permits in Namibia is that your short-term is typically issued for a period of 90 days and it can be extended once in country. The processing time you're looking at is anywhere between 2 to 5 weeks, whereas long-term work permits are typically issued for a period of 2 years, and processing time can be anywhere from 3 months to 6 months.
And the beauty about Namibia is obviously that in order to bridge that long period for the long term, you can actually come in, get the short term, and then apply for the long term while in country, right?
Yes, correct. So you can be on a valid short term work permit while your long term work permit is processing. Okay.
And then maybe from a document point of view, so how complex was it to get all these short term work visas in, and how does it? So yeah. What red flags potentially on short term could there be, and what documents are required?
Okay, so the short term work permits is a fairly simple process in terms of document. I think one red flag is that these documents need to be certified or notarized. So in order for us to be able to submit the documentation correctly, we need to ensure that our clients are understanding what certification or notarizing of documents are. But other than that, it's very simple. It's about 5 or 6 documents. The employer documents IBN pre-completes for the employer. So we take care of that for you. So from the assignee or the applicant side, it's really just 2 or 3 documents to add to your application, and that's your short-term work permit.
Is there a minimum educational requirement for short-term, or can it be completely unqualified?
So you can't
I seem to remember the matric kind of A-level kind of requirement.
Yeah. So you can't be completely unqualified. You can obviously have a matric certificate, for example, but then I would always advise my clients to at least have some in-house certificates as well. So if they're doing specific training, you get well testing certificates, for example, for those in oil and gas, then I would always include that in the application to strengthen the short-term work permit.
And then where do we submit, in Namibia or at a South African, Namibian mission overseas?
So we actually submit the applications in Namibia, and we have an office in Windhoek. We actually just moved into a new office space. So the 2 ladies in our office there would typically submit the applications in country.
Okay. Now moving over to the long term. Okay, so maybe just, I don't want to know again, go through all the documents, but typical questions are transfer of skills plan, advertisement, local labor market checking. So maybe just speak a little bit about that.
Okay, so for the long term, I would say that the first step in the process is to advertise the position, right? With these larger projects, specifically in oil and gas and mining, there might be some exceptions. So there might be some pre-approval from the ministries or some negotiation between the government where they've actually exempted these clients from submitting the local advertisement. But if we're looking outside of oil and gas, then you need to do an advertisement in the local newspaper. The more, the merrier. We usually limit our clients to about 3 newspapers. And then obviously the client in Namibia then needs to proceed with the interview process and then making sure they keep a record of all these documentations so that we can submit this with the long-term work permit application.
And transfer of skills plan?
So transfer of skills plan is not really a requirement in Namibia. However, if you are transferring skills to a local, I would suggest that you add it. It just strengthens the application.
So what I'm quite interested in is obviously now to handle projects of 50 plus or 70 short and long term. So what was your secret sauce? So how did you manage? I mean, how did you update the corporate client, and what was really important for you to make it work? Maybe just...
So I think the most important to make it work is to have an HR or employer who is working with me, right? So I think the first point is to have a conversation about the project for me to understand the project as a whole. And then we can work around how we need to communicate and what they need from me in order to make this a smooth process. A lot of my oil and gas clients want Excel sheets. So I'm fully committed to Excel. So we typically would do a weekly call and update our Excel sheet together so that we are on track of where we are in the application, who's coming up for renewals, for example, or who do we need to swap out because of rotation and schedules and those things. So I think it's very important to have a responsive and proactive HR from the Namibia or the entity abroad side, and then allowing us to manage the process, because at the end of the day we are the experts, so we can bring up the red flags or inform you when there is potential hurdles in terms of your start date and those kind of things. So trusting the process is also quite important.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then obviously depending on the clients, oil and gas seems to be very Excel heavy, but some clients use our state-of-the-art case management software, so and that obviously compiles reports as well. But I think for today this is it. So thank you very much, Melissa, for sharing the practical experience. And if you have big projects in Namibia or small ones, please contact us. Under the below and or beside information you will find on YouTube. And if you like the video, please share it. Lots. Apparently, our marketing guy said it's very important that I say these things. So please share it, like it, and do whatever you want with it. And and then talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.